Good morning or afternoon or possibly 3 a.m. depending on when you're watching this. Hi guys. It's Monday, April the 20th. Uh, if we were in class, you would insert your stupid and lame 420 jokes here. Uh, anyway, we're entering what I believe is week 6 of the shutdown, which seems um, impossible, right? Seems insane to think about. Very likely today, or maybe tomorrow, or early this week, the governor is going to announce, I'm sure, that what his decision is for schools regarding his May 1st return. Um, if I'm a betting man, I'm guessing no, but we'll see. I keep holding out hope, and I'm sure by now you guys have seen that Mr. Scrucci has said that unless we're told specifically by the governor, um, hey, shut it down, everybody across the state, we're done, school's closed. We're going to keep doing this until we would normally be out of school, which would be the fourth week of May. So stay tuned. I'm sure we'll hear more about that. But you've probably heard by now that Mr. Scrucci has said that we're going to continue to try and educate all the way through the school year, which I'm actually glad about. Um, Number one, I miss you guys and I miss my job in teaching, so this will keep me straight. And number two, why would we need summer break to begin right now? What the heck are we going to do outside anyway? So we might as well keep on trucking. Anyway, today we're going to continue our discussion of different TV programming, and today brings us to dramas. Um, so there are two main types of dramas, and this presentation is all gacked up, so you have to kind of listen and pay attention to what I'm about to say because it's not showing up on the screen. But there are two main types of dramas on TV today. There are anthology dramas and episodic dramas. So an anthology drama, well, first of all, dramas in general, you know that they're there to they're more serious, they're more dramatic. Obviously, you're going to get a lot more in-depth character development, a lot more in-depth storytelling, and they are more serious in nature. And there are all kinds of dramas. You've got romance, and you've got crime dramas and medical dramas and mysteries and all these other different types. So even within the genre, there are subgenres, and we'll talk about that quite a bit when we get to our film unit next. Um, but dramas are typically at least an hour in length on regular TV. They're twice as long as a comedy typically, and so we'll talk about anthology dramas first. You don't see these too much anymore. So what an anthology drama is every week there's a brand new cast and a brand new story, and usually a new set, and sometimes even new directors and writers. They're hard to make. They're expensive to make, and they're harder to make because you basically start from scratch every week. So a good example historically of an anthology drama would be like the Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone every week had a different cast with a totally new storyline. Alfred Hitchcock Presents was another famous show from the 60s that was like this. Um, Black Mirror, if you guys watch Black Mirror now, that's a modern example of an anthology drama. When I was a kid, there was a show called Amazing Stories that was on. If you can ever find it, I'm not sure if it's on Netflix. It was awesome. And this show, when I tell you how it's set up, this will explain why you don't see this very often anymore. So in the 80s, Steven Spielberg, that's Steven Spielberg, famous director. Uh, so he was fresh off of, he had already done E.T. and Jaws and movies like that, and he was famous. He decided he wanted to do some TV work. And so he made a weekly anthology drama called Amazing Stories. And every week, uh, Spielberg, sometimes he would direct, but oftentimes he would get his friends in the film industry to direct. So all these famous directors would direct, and every week it had a totally new story with a new cast, and it was always A-list Hollywood celebrities. Everybody wanted to work with Spielberg, and everybody thought this would be fun. So they would come and they would, whatever they were doing, they would stop their schedule and they would go out to Hollywood and they would shoot, an episode of Amazing Stories with Spielberg. And they're really cool. One of my favorites was about it. This one starred Kevin Costner and Kiefer Sutherland. I know those two guys at the time, two big time Hollywood actors. and it was about a World War II bomber crew, and the it was their last flight with their turret gunner. They had a kid that was getting married, and he was going to rotate back to the United States. And on their last mission with this kid, something happened where he got stuck in the bottom of the bomber, and the wheels of the airplane had been all shot up, and they were going to have to crash land, and it was going to kill this kid. And he was also a cartoonist, and so I'm not going to tell you what happens, because if you I want you to watch it if you ever get a hold of it. But anyway, something amazing happens. That's why it was called Amazing Stories. Anyway, roll credits, and then next week was a brand new episode starring Danny DeVito, or another one starring Tom Hanks. It was really cool, but that would never happen today. One, these people make too much money. Two, who's going to stop in the middle of their busy film career to go and do a TV show? So you just don't. You're not going to see this. They're harder to make. They're more expensive to make, because every week you start from scratch. But that show at that time was kind of unique, because just at the time and place that it happened, and that everybody wanted to work with Spielberg. So those are anthology dramas. Episodic dramas are the ones that you see 99.9% of the time on TV. And those are weekly episodes where it's the same cast. And there are two different types of episodic dramas. There's chapter dramas, and there's serial dramas. So a chapter drama, it's like if you're reading a book of short stories. Each chapter is its own little story. That's what a chapter drama is. So every week it's the same cast, and they tell a story in an hour-long time that gets wrapped up neatly at the end in a nice little package. So if you think of a modern show, any of the crime procedurals or the medical procedurals like CSI, or Special Victims Unit, or Chicago Hope, or whatever, Fire, whatever those shows are, every week there's a crime, or there's a major catastrophe, or there's a medical situation, and the cast works to solve it. And at the end of the episode, they do roll credits, move on to the next week. You're watching a chapter drama if you could skip a couple weeks and come right back and watch the show like you've missed nothing. So that's a chapter drama. The other type of drama is serial drama. In a serial drama, it's the same cast, but every week builds on the previous week. So if you don't tune in and you miss a week of the series, you're lost. The best example I can think of in modern history of this is the show Lost. If you've never seen the show, it was about a plane crash, a plane that went down in the Pacific on its way from Australia to LA, and all these people are trapped on this deserted island. So that show I watched religiously. I love that show. I swear to you, if I left the room to go make popcorn, or sometimes if I turned my head to cough, I would be totally lost. Like, you had to watch every single second of every single episode, or you would have no idea what the heck was going on. Modern examples of this: The Walking Dead, where each episode builds on the previous. Sons of Anarchy, Breaking Bad. Those are all serial dramas. So those are the main differences. Speaking of which, for my money, I think the best serial drama I have ever seen in my life on television is Breaking Bad. If you haven't seen that series, it's amazing. It's all on Netflix, so I highly, highly recommend it. And it's about a mild-mannered science teacher who's diagnosed with terminal cancer. And in order to provide for his family for when he is gone, he networks with a former student, and they make meth. A science teacher and a former student make meth. So it's a real feel-good story, obviously. But that is, in my humble opinion, I think the greatest serial drama of all time. And that show, you had to tune in every single week to follow the storyline and to figure out what the heck was going on with that show. All right, so that's it for dramas. We're missing some obvious. Reality TV would be another major programming genre we could talk about, but you know what those are. Cartoons are another one, but those are those are the big three: news, comedy, and drama. So here's where we're going next. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about how shows get on TV. Have you ever wondered, hey, where do they come up with their ideas, or how does the network decide what they're going to put on? That's what we're going to learn about tomorrow. We're going to talk about pilot episodes or pilot programs. And then Wednesday and Thursday, we'll talk about how and why shows get canceled. We'll talk about something called ratings, which is a word you've all probably heard before, but maybe didn't quite understand. We'll talk about what ratings are and why they're important and who they matter to. Now, important announcement. I'm going to put this on the Google Classroom site. I've decided in my infinite wisdom that from now on, I'm not going to require you to do a daily journal. You are welcome to, if you'd rather do it that way, and continue to do that. If you find that you like that or that helps you, do it. I'll still read them and check for them. Instead, I'm going to have you guys do a weekly journal. So, what I'm expecting is, instead of the 150 words every day, which you can still do if you want, but instead, you're going to do a weekly journal for the whole week, and it will be due um, before the next Monday, so sometime over the weekend. And I would like a half a page at least. You can certainly do more if you want, of what happened to you that week and what major events happened in the country or in the state that week. So we'll do a weekly journal from now on, keeping in mind, if you still want to do it the daily way, I have no problem and actually enjoy reading those. But I think it's getting to the point where everybody seems to be writing the same thing every day, like it's Groundhog's Day, the movie part two. Um, so weekly journal from now on. But what that means is I will now have a couple of other assignments during the week, and these will be shorter. Maybe I have a few questions that I'll have you answer about whatever I lectured over, or maybe it's an opinion piece about, we're getting into our film unit. We're going to do some stuff with your favorite movies and actors and things like that. So be ready for that change, and I will post that on Google Classroom. But we are now moving into week 6 of the shutdown, and I am moving to weekly journals instead of daily journals. If you guys have any questions, reach out to me. I'll get right back to you. But that's where we're at right now. I really, really hope we're going to hear the governor tell us that we're coming back on May 1st. So keep our fingers crossed. I missed the hell out of you guys. Hope you're safe and well, and everybody in your family and circle of friends is safe. Um, take care of each other. Be good to each other. Love you guys. Miss you guys, and hope to see you soon. Peace.